Hello everyone, this is Bhavna from Zee Business. With Budget 2025 just around the corner, we are gearing up to bring you the latest trends and insights. In today's installment of Budget Bucketlist, we will dive into Gulzar Didwania's key predictions and expectations from the upcoming Union Budget. Gulzar Didwania is a partner with Deloitte India. Hello Gulzar, welcome to Zee Business. So let's start with the focus areas in Budget 2025. In your opinion, what will be the focus areas of government in the upcoming Union Budget? Will the focus be on infrastructure development, energy transition, or welfare schemes, policies to support economic growth, or a mix of all?
I think Bhavna, last year's budget was not a full year budget, so we are hoping that government, while presenting this 2025 budget, which will be the full budget presented by the government, will focus on, of course, ease of doing business, improving data and governance, also focus on how to improve the infrastructure for the country, and definitely energy transition has been the focus area for the government, which will continue to remain a focus area. But two other areas also government mentioned in their last mid-year budget that they presented is to rationalize the customs duty reforms and also bring up reforms which will simplify the trade and reduce the litigation.
What are your thoughts on GST? Do you expect any specific announcement relating to GST in Budget 2025? Is there anything in particular that you want to hear from the Finance Minister?
So Bhavna, GST, as we all know, is something that is governed by the GST Council. We have regular GST Council meetings in which decisions related to GST are taken. So I don't think any massive announcements regarding GST happening in the budget. There could be some specific provisions that they will bring in, which have already been approved by the GST Council. So no massive big bang reforms we are expecting in this budget for GST.
Okay. And what's the buzz around potential changes in GST applicable to insurance premiums?
I think, Bhavna, that is also, in the recently concluded GST Council meeting, the FM mentioned that this area is still being examined, and I don't think that anything will come out in the budget. We'll have to wait for the next GST Council meeting and the group of ministers to submit their recommendations.
Can the government hike the sin tax in the upcoming budget?
Well, sin tax has been basically one of the major source of revenue for the government.
Yeah.
And we have seen changes in the duty structure, customs duty, excise duty structure on various products which are not under the GST net. So there will be some rate upwards we are expecting may take place, keeping trend with the earlier years as well.
What should the approach be on sin taxes? What do taxes on cigarettes in India often experience periods of stability followed by sudden changes? And do industry players seem to anticipate these changes?
There could be various representations given by the industry, but what will government bring out in the budget is something that one has to wait for the final outcome and final announcement by the budget, by the finance minister. But changes do take place every year as we progress and as we see the budget's announcements.
So is it correct to say that sin product makers like cigarette manufacturers are always prepared for sudden changes in taxes, at least the big players?
I think they always do, because the changes take place on the midnight of the budget, and therefore they always are prepared in the systems, in the processes, in the entire distribution chain to expect some changes here and there on the duty structure.
The sin taxes will always be discouraged, isn't it? But government often favors such taxes for their revenue worth. What should be the approach there in your opinion?
I think the objective to hike taxes on the sin is to discourage the use of the sin products.
Yeah, true.
But I think, and that's how government wants to discourage the use. So anything that government wants to discourage, they typically make changes in the duty structure, and therefore if you're hiking the taxes, which means government's attempt to discourage use of those products for the consumers.
What is the ideal way of taxing these items? What is the right balance there?
I think 28% is the highest GST rate.
Yeah.
And then government levies, cess, etc. And many of these products are not even in the GST regime. They are still governed by the earlier excise regime. State governments also levy taxes on these products. So as I said, there is no ideal rate that you can envisage. there will always be changes in these rates depending upon how the government wants these products to be discouraged and encouraged, etc.
Right, right. What about the inclusion of petrol and diesel under GST? What's your take on the subject?
I think petrol and diesel again is a subject where state government as well as both central government levy excise duty and VAT respectively. And this was one area which was kept out of the GST net when GST was implemented. In the recently concluded GST Council meeting, FM also made an announcement that even ATF, there was discussions on bringing ATF into the GST fold, and consensus could not be reached even to bring ATF under the GST net. So I don't see a very near future possibility or probability of inclusion of petrol and diesel under the GST net.
What key changes in customs policies or duties do you anticipate in the upcoming budget? Are there specific industries or products likely to see increased or reduced duties?
See, I think you have to ask me as a policy. Government has been announcing a lot of duty concessions on import of raw materials and capital goods to promote Make in India, and I'm hoping that the same trend should continue this time as well, where some of the identified sectors or products where currently India does not have availability of raw material gets some duty concessions. Finished products, I don't think there would be any significant changes in the duty structure, but there could be some clarifications issued by the government, some amendments made by the government to reduce the ambiguity or reduce the litigation.
As we know, customs make about 4% of India's total revenue. What is your assessment of the customs revenue target for 2025-26?
See, if you see, India's imports have enhanced, right? And if you see, the trade deficit also in the last month reached its peak, and therefore we are seeing large amount of imports into the country. And I don't see any reason why the target of customs duty would not be achieved by the government. You see, the petroleum was the highest product which India imported. Gold became the second highest, and therefore the imports have increased, and according to me, government should be able to achieve the target of the customs duty.
Right. So, okay, last but not least, what is your wish list for budget 2025?
I always believe that duty rate changes are momentary things, but government should focus more on ease of trade, digitalization, improving compliance for the entire industry, and making tax business friendly. And there have been a lot of steps taken by the government.
Right.
From a customs standpoint, because I don't expect anything on GST, from a customs standpoint, I expect 3-4 things that government should bring about in this recent budget. And these are, of course, beyond the customs duty changes that will come up. One is one specific point is that government has introduced a scheme called Manufacturing and Other Operations in Warehouse scheme.
Yes.
And I'm hoping some simplifications should be brought in the budget about that scheme. Second is streamlining of non-tariff measures, which means that if I'm importing something today, there are a lot of regulatory licenses that I need to obtain on various products. So I'm hoping that something should be done by the government to make sure that there's a single window facility available for the importer. Third is again benefit given by the government to the authorized economic operator scheme. So if you are an AEO, then a lot of things should be available to you on a self-declaration basis. And one more point is on improving the global value chain.
Thank you, Gulzar, for your time.